Hi everyone. Auburn Symphony Orchestra has once again teamed up with Interurban Center for the Arts to create this video in which we combine music with visual art. Today you will create your very own dragon's eye under the guidance of art teacher extraordinaire Monica Tolas. This project is inspired by music from the film How to Train Your Dragon. Auburn Symphony Orchestra will be performing this music in March 2022 on our concert Hollywood Takes Flight. How to Train Your Dragon is about a young Viking named Hiccup who is raised in a village in which he's taught that dragons are dangerous and must be killed. Hiccup, however, inadvertently befriends a night fury, a type of dragon thought to be especially fearsome. Hiccup learns, though, that Night Fury is not a threat and befriends him, giving him the name Toothless. The rest of the movie is all about their adventures. The music for How to Train Your Dragon was composed by John Powell. I encourage you to check out the links below this video so you can listen to this epic music while you make your Dragon's Eye art project. Now in the movie, the dragons don't speak. Instead, they portray their emotions using their face and their eyes. Music often does the same thing. Instead of using words, we use musical sounds to express emotions like happiness, sadness, terror, or excitement. In the movie, John Powell's music helps build excitement, especially when Hiccup is flying through the air on the back of Toothless. Without this music, the movie would not be near as exciting to watch or listen to. For your art project, you're going to create a dragon's eye. What color would you like to make your eye? Do you have a favorite color? Does listening to the music bring to mind a specific color? Whatever color or colors that you pick, I can't wait to see your final art project. When you're finished, and with the help of an adult, be sure to snap a picture of your dragon's eye and post it to Instagram with the hashtag ASODragonEye. Now, I'll turn it over to your art teacher, Monica Tolas.
Hi everybody, welcome back to this year's Art Inspires Art series. How to Train Your Dragon is really near and dear to my heart. Today's project is an origami-inspired paper folding project of a dragon's eye. For today's project, it's just some really simple supplies, and for those of you who have the take-home art kits, you'll find the instructions and all the supplies in your kit. But what I did is I just went up and grabbed some copy paper off our printer, and I really like this because the paper itself is so thin and it's very easy to manipulate and fold. You could use construction paper. It's a little thicker, so it's going to be a little bit harder to manipulate. So either or, preference would be copy paper. So we're going to start out, and what we need to do is have a perfectly square sheet of paper. And as you see, mine isn't square, so I'm going to show you how to do that. What we'll do is we'll start out taking this corner and folding it all the way over to the opposite side and matching that up. And then again, making a nice firm crease in our piece of paper. Now, you're going to have this section up here, and you can either take a scissors and carefully cut along that line with scissors, or I have a very simple paper cutter here. I just line that edge up on my paper cutter, and just like that, we've got our square sheet of paper. Now, some of the other supplies that you'll want to have on hand is your paper. You can use crayons. Oil pastels work beautifully on a project like this. Colored pencils and or markers. So you choose. For today, I think I'm going to stick with colored pencils. Okay, so the next step is doing our origami. It's a Japanese style of paper folding. Ori means means folding. Gami is the Japanese word for paper. Because we cut our sheet of paper, we already have that first diagonal line in our paper. What you'll want to do is then go to the opposite corners and fold it up. Make sure they meet, and again, make nice crisp folds in your paper so that when you open it back up, you should have an X on your sheet of paper. The next step is we're going to take this corner and fold it up to that very center point. And again, being sure to make a nice sharp crease in our paper. Turn it the other way around and take this corner, folding it up to the center, just like you did on the other side. Nice sharp fold. Now we're going to take this edge and fold it up to that center line. Being sure to make a good crease. Turn it around. Now we had this one folded up to the center. We're going to take this. Oops, hold that back. We had this previously folded up to the center. Now we're going to take this line and fold it up to the center as well. Pressing on those creases. Okay, open it up, and we're going to flip it over. We'll take this top piece that's folded down, and we'll fold along the next line of folds, and we'll do the same at the bottom, folding this up, and you can see there's already a pre-folded line there. We'll fold that up. Okay, so we basically have these two tabs, and what it will give us are the parameters for the eyeball of our dragon. And if you want, you can take your pencil and just lightly draw a line so that you kind of have a reference point for where you're going to draw your dragon's eyeball. So here are my two lines. I'll start out making some curved lines here. This will be the iris. And then I'm going to make the pupil, which again are just a couple curved lines right inside that. Now, I do want you to add, on a normal eyeball, when the light hits it, there's usually some white spots on the eyeball. Let's go ahead and draw those in. They can be a circle. Mine's kind of this shape. And then I'm going to erase what's inside because this will be pure white when I go to color it in. Okay. So we've got our dragon's eyeball, the iris, the pupil, and a reflection of light in it. Like I said, I'm going to use colored pencils. So I'm going to grab out a few of those. When you look at the picture of Toothless, he has these really pretty green, a little bit yellow eyes, and if I zoom in, you'll notice that around the outside it's this darker green, and as it comes in closer to the pupil, it's yellow. I'm going to mimic that same thing just because Toothless is one of my favorite dragons in the series. So I'll start coloring, and again I'm using colored pencils so that I can really blend my colors. And remember, around the pupil, it's colored yellow, and then I'm going to come in kind of overlapping my colors and add that green for around the outside. Kind of blending and overlapping the green and the yellow, and then as I get closer to the outside edges of the eyeball, I'm actually going to come in with a little bit darker green just to make those edges really stand out. Okay? And we do the same thing over on the other side. And remember, this is kind of that reflective white light that you usually see in people's eyes, animals' eyes. So I'm going to color around that, making sure to leave that white. I'm going to jump ahead and move into the pupil, which I'm going to color dark black. You don't have to use the same colors I do. You can use any color you like. I've seen where people have done blue irises and the pupil is like a really dark purple, which looks really, really stunning when it's all done. But again, I'm being very careful to color around that white reflective spot of light in the pupil, and I'm going to push kind of hard here, make this black look really dark. When I use colored pencils and I want it to look really, really dark, as you see, I'm going up and down in one direction, and to darken that up, I'll turn it the other way and go the opposite direction over the color I just put down. That really, as you can see, really darkens up a color if you go in opposite directions. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I'll come back and finish coloring in the rest of my eyeball, but I want to go through the rest of the folding techniques. So we had these two edges that we brought down, and then we folded it up again. That's how we got the edges or the parameters of our eyeball to color it in. We'll go ahead and fold one more fold. That's our third fold on each side, covering up that eyeball, just like that. Now we'll take the sheet of paper and we'll flip it over. And what I'll want to do next is bring this point up to the center. You can see I have a center fold here. So I want to pull this point and fold it up to there. Again, make a good crease in your paper, flip it around. This point goes up to this middle line. Okay, this is the next tricky fold, and with younger students you might want to have someone assist younger students in doing this. But again, we're going to look at our center fold here, and that's where we want to start the fold. And we'll grab one of these corners. I've got my finger on the opposite side of that fold, and I'm folding just until it meets my finger. And again, crease it and open it back up. And you'll want to do it on the opposite side. Pull it up. You see your fold comes right up to this little triangle in the corner almost. Make that crease, open it, then we turn it the opposite direction. Get that finger in there to kind of hold our paper in place. Make a fold, open it, and this is the final fold. Again, I kind of hold my finger there. Gets kind of thick here, so you've got to be sure you get some good pressure on that fold. And we've just created the eyelid to our dragon's eye. You see that? It'll pull it tight and it closes, open it up and we see the eyeball. At this point, what you'll want to do is set it back down, keep it folded, and go ahead and create a design. You might want to do something like this that kind of looks like scales across the front of this. This is one, still has the eyeball in the inside. Let me show you what my finished one looks like. I'll open it up all the way. Because I was thinking about toothless, I colored it all in black. I did some scales here, and when I fold those corners back and I'm pinching them together on the back with my thumb and my finger, you can open and close the eyelid. And there's the finished product. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks a lot.